Today, I'm here with Super Nolan Man, Nolan Daniels to my left. How you doing, Nolan?
Over this weekend, I have watched over 2.5 hours of my own saved clips from Helldivers 2, not including everybody else's clips for a secret task. Feeling
Nice.
good.
Yeah, look out for it.
And down there below me, you know him, you love him. It's the Hyrule King, Bo Mitchell. How you doing, Bo?
Yeah, pretty good, pretty good. I did not spend the weekend watching that many clips.
Sounds like you had a pretty lame weekend. Am I right?
Got him. Today, we are discussing Metaphor ReFantazio. And Bo, you can
Yeah.
take it away here because we got a little twist for you.
Yeah, this is gonna be a little bit different because it's kind of like a review comparison-ish thing I did. Uh, for a lot of people know, like Atlas made this game, and they also made the Persona games. And there is a lot of similarities. So I was like, hey, it'd be kind of fun. Compare and contrast them, make like kind of a unique spin on the review, what I normally do here. So yeah. To start out with, as we normally do, I'm going to give a rating to Metaphor ReFantazio. Uh, just to start it off with, if you wanted to see what we thought of it right off the get go, I'm going to rate it a 9.
Nice.
An
So
amazing game.
yeah, amazing game. If you're interested at all, definitely go pick it up. It's really cool. I mean, I personally, I probably would have put it as game of the year last year. Like, it's a great game.
Nice, nice.
um, yeah, I think it does have some flaws, and I'm gonna get into that later of why I gave it that score. But overall, really solid. Um, yeah, so I'm gonna start off talking with the setting and kind of story ish too. I'll keep the story spoilers to a minimum because obviously newer game. If you want to go check it out, definitely do that. I'll spoil a little bit, but not much. And it won't be major spoilers.
Will it be? It won't be like story spoilers, like
No,
plot spoilers.
no.
It'll just be like a conversation or two kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
Yep. There,
Right on.
I'll. Okay. There's one thing that most people will not catch playing it unless you played this very obscure game that it's referencing. That's the one thing I will spoil. So
Okay.
just putting it out there now.
So if
Cool.
you haven't played
So we're
Viva
not.
Pinata on the Xbox 360, go play that now so you understand the reference.
If you haven't played a game called Etrian Odyssey, go play that first.
Let's put it this way. He's not about to say, "Oh man, I wonder if there's anything about delicious pancakes in this game."
Yeah, not gonna be one of the pancakes type of videos.
Matthew, not a.
Uh,
It's a P5 reference.
All right.
yeah, that's Persona 5 reference. Anyway, yeah. So overall, I like where the story went a lot better than Persona personally. Uh,
Okay.
yeah, and the reason why is it didn't go full. How would I? We're the heroes that need to save everyone with the power of friendship vibes.
Yeah.
Sure.
uh,
The persona plot of
yeah,
every persona. Yes.
yeah. There's still a little bit of that, and it kind of goes into that whole like focus with the book. That's not really a spoiler. You see the book like within the first hour. Um, some of the stuff in the book is like, oh, equality, like having a perfect society, and that kind of gives similar vibes. Not quite as bad as Persona at times, in my opinion. Um, but yeah, definitely still a little bit of that. But I think the big focus on the race for becoming king, that's not a huge spoiler either. You find that out with the, I don't know, 2 hours.
The demo.
I, yeah. Also, I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure. Yeah, that was in the demo. But yeah, being a king, being a good king for the people, it's just way more interesting to me than the typical Persona. Gotta save the world. Like that's cool and all. But
Mhm.
this was definitely a more interesting take for the story. Uh, and there's even some twists too that I thought were really enjoyable. Definitely, like you could have guessed some of them, but some other ones were like, oh wow, I didn't actually expect that. So that's cool.
Mhm.
Um, Yeah, and then to get into what I alluded to, there's actually a really cool moment. I'm not going to spoil how it happens, but this game is tied to another Atlas game called Etrian Odyssey. I had never played that, and like, yeah, I found out about it after I had finished the platinum, and I was like, "Whoa, that was a reference to that? No way!" Um, but yeah, really cool. Uh, very obscure, I think 3DS game uh that Atlas made a while back. So pretty neat. Uh yeah. I think sometimes one thing that the writers at Atlas get hung up on, and it's definitely in this game, is they get caught up in their own prose where it's, they've gone like full circle and they're just like elaborating on uh this point that they've been making the whole game, you know?
Yeah, kind of beating you over the head with it.
Yeah. Uh and definitely with like what I alluded to before, this fantasy versus reality theming that the book has. Uh yeah, it's a lot of that. Um but it's not like it's so extreme that it's going to ruin it for most people, I don't think. Um
It's kind of something you notice as you're playing.
Well,
yeah, yeah.
my
And definitely it's been something that people have said in Persona games before where it's like, "Oh my gosh, like you've said this the entire
Like, please shut up.
yes, and
yeah.
it I have not finished the game. I don't
Mhm.
know. I've basically I'm basically in the second act if it's a 3-act story, and
Yeah. You're
uh
in Brylehaven, right?
yeah.
I think. Yeah.
So um so in my, I don't know, 30 hours in or whatever I am, uh I definitely hear that and echo that as well, that you do have that, persona style. Okay, yeah, we get it. You've said it enough times and in enough different ways. But the thing I'll give it a little bit of a pass for is because there is more nuance to it than there is in a Persona game, where
Sure.
they have a
Yeah.
very flat, straight dichotomy. But like it's a very like base level allegories going on in Persona games. This one, it blurs the lines a lot, but also has more themes going on rather than just the
Mhm.
one that it really sticks to. Like, which
Yeah,
is often
it's
just
dealing with
times
some
like
tough themes like race, which, yeah, you have to kind of like really be careful how you say it. And I can see that even in their writing,
You can't call
where
people slow anymore. Everybody's got to be fast.
not like that. You
and
go, yeah, I agree.
and even e- even beyond that, they like you said, a it's even at the end, it's not entirely obvious who the bad guys are. They weren't like they made very clear points, and you can kind of you can justify a lot of what certain people are doing. Like and let me rephrase it, not even necessarily people, ideals, like what these different people stand for. They don't
Mhm.
attack the ideals as much as they attack the individual persons. And Persona is usually the
Yeah,
opposite, where they
Okay.
are like, oh, the person's fine, but their ideals are what we're attacking. So
Yeah.
this is a very
sometimes. There's definitely
it's
sometimes where the person is like, "Whoa, that guy's evil,"
I mean, yeah, I mean, Persona 2 with
like the main
Hitler,
bad guy.
uh,
Yeah.
or something like that. But I mean, there's clearly people who have like ill intent for others, but
Mhm.
you have all these different factions, and no faction is good. Every
Yeah.
faction is really mixed up, but not there's not a particular faction outside of individuals who clearly have ill intent. Um, all the factions have like, okay, you're mixed up, but you're also not necessarily like, it's not there's a bad faction, that like these guys
Yeah.
are clearly entirely intrinsically wicked, which a lot of times Persona, and granted not nearly as big a scale, like you're not dealing with governments outside of like, you know you have like individual politicians in Persona games and things like that, but you're never actually like you don't have multiple aspects of society at war with each other, like different classes, different uh the factions is what I keep coming back to.
Yeah,
And I
but
think
that
they had
was
a very
something I was
nuanced take to the
gonna
factions.
address next. Actually, now you bring it up. Um, I like that there is these like factions or like the race war type stuff in this game. Because it really fleshes out the world more. I will say that besides some of the side quests, I kind of wish there's a little bit more telling like why the races hate each other as much as they do. Like even by the end, like you see some of it. I'm trying to like dance around it a little bit. You see some of it, but you don't see the full picture of like, okay, why is like this group of people
Well,
There's no like
put
there's
into the poor
definitive like
group?
this is why they're like a
Yeah,
soul event or
yeah,
something like that.
there's nothing like
there's
saying, okay, this is why this people are in the poor group,
and
like this reason. But
there's a lot of lore that is locked behind. I don't mean that in a negative way. There's a lot of lore locked behind the social. What do you call them? Not confidants anymore. Or is
followers,
it followers?
yeah,
Your followers. Your social links basically. And
yeah,
once you go down those, that's where you start to get the bigger picture and you get some details. And again, it's never just flat. This is what it is. This is the experience of a few people that really
mm,
highlight. Okay, here's some context for this.
yeah, for sure. Yep, yeah, and I'll talk about that'll be one of my main points later with the followers. Um, yeah. So to talk about the setting really quick, I really like how unique this setting is. Uh, it's very medieval, but it has some like modern things in there. Like some of the main characters have basically modern clothing. I mean, like the main character is wearing pretty modern looking outfit,
Yeah.
and that's pretty cool. Man, I think my favorite part about this setting is the monster design. Um, they actually I
Gnarly.
learned this later. They pulled it from a medieval book. I forget the name of it. I'll put it in the comments later. But basically they pulled it from these designs that this guy made in this medieval book. And you can really see like how unique and like strange they are. You have to see some of these to believe them because they're so like out there. Um, but those like really grew on me. Because especially when I first saw the game, I was like, what the heck is this weird thing they're doing? But yeah, some really cool stuff in here. Yeah,
So
so
now
easily
you
some of the
mentioned
strangest monsters they've come up with easily.
uh if I can quote from a um
Oh, did you pull up
I'm,
the name of the book?
well it's so a lot of it is and I'm trying to find where it has the exact quote. um I can't find the literal quote where like where they said this, but um what's based off of is it's based off of a bunch of art, surrealist art by and I'm not gonna be able to pronounce his name right, but it's Hieronymus Bosch, and
I think that was it.
16th century Dutch painter. And
Yes.
I the second
Yes.
you look it up, you're like, okay, that is very obvious.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep. It's cool that they pulled from like there's a couple of sources they pulled like even some of the ideas of like the book they pulled from a real book. Um
That would
they
be
pulled
good.
from a lot of different places and it made something really neat. Uh yeah, I think overall um like graphics wise this looks pretty similar to Persona 5 but a little bit more polished. I don't know if you'd feel the same about it, Nolan. It
Say it
definitely
one
looks
more
better
time.
to me. The metaphor looks better than Persona 5 Royal, like
Yes,
graphically.
yeah, just in terms of fidelity uh and like just like a very not even talking about the art, just the like not the art direction, but just literal, like it looks better. It's
Yeah.
it's a lot. The animations are a lot cleaner.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, you really see that in battle too. Like it is buttery smooth. Um, yeah. One of my favorite parts about the game is the Gauntlet Runner. Easily like one of my favorite bases in a JRPG. It it's super cool. And the fact like there's so many like subtle animation things that you see when you're just wandering around. Like you can see that there's stuff moving outside of it and they made the Gauntlet Runner bounce. Like that just so many cool little touches like that. And there's stuff to do on the Gauntlet Runner and you can talk with people. Uh Pretty neat. I really
Im-
liked the Gauntlet Runner.
Imagine a imagine an airship with like Baba Yaga legs that it's running on.
Yeah.
Like that's basically
Yeah.
what what this runner is.
Nice.
Mhm. Yeah. All right. So now we're gonna talk about combat. One of the best things, and Nolan and I have talked about this. It feels like hundreds of times at this point. One of the best things they ever added into a JRPG is the retry button.
Yes. My
It is so
goodness.
nice. Oh man,
I
because you
why
you can
can't
just have a battle going like completely bonkers, terrible, and you just hit retry and
like
just
just
do it over.
restart it.
Yeah, it's great because yeah, it's basically like you can get different attacks from the enemies doing that, or you can
Yeah.
just reset your items if you messed up. Super easy.
I
Yeah,
already got
it's
my
just some
butt kicked. I don't
copycat of
got to reload all this.
exactly.
I'm already
Uh
humiliated.
Exactly that, and it's so seamless. It's not like you go into
Yes.
this long loading screen. You are restarting.
Yeah, it's instant.
You are starting your turn in about 2.5 seconds.
Mhm.
Man, I wish Claire Obscure would add this in an update.
Yeah, I there's been so there, and I was talking to Nolan about this too. There's some times where like I wanted to fully reload a save, and it's kind of annoying because you have to like just die and then you can reload the save with metaphor. But that's mostly with like the super bosses. Um, yeah, it's tough because like they both have cool things in them.
Mm.
So, but yeah, I one thing I will say with it, I think to compensate for the reloading, there are so many status effects you can get in this game.
It's true.
Oh my word. I I feel like there's too many sometimes because you there is a couple super bosses towards the end. And there's another problem I have with them later, but I'll get to that in a second. They would just literally cast like poison and then confusion and then charm over and over and over again. And like as soon as you get rid of that status effect, they can just cast it again. It's
So
like,
when you
oh my
say there's a
word.
lot of status effects, you mean you're getting constantly hit with them, not
They're
that there's like a very
yeah,
wide
they're
selection of
Well,
them.
constantly using
there's
them.
there's a fairly wide amount of different status effects too,
Yeah, there's
but
like at least eight or nine of them. I think possibly more than that.
Okay.
I'm not fully sure. Um, yeah. Uh, Actually, I'll just skip to that now since we're talking about it. So I kind of alluded to this. Some of the super bosses towards the end, I kind of had a bit of a problem with because basically there's something a lot of enemies in this game can do is they can add turns to their like stack of turns that they normally get by using one of their moves. By the end of the game, most enemies can add 4 turns, which
Wow.
is like, okay, that's a little bit annoying, but like I can deal with that. The super bosses, I kid you not, can add 7 turns,
Wow.
and they can do that more than once. So they can literally use a turn that gives them 7 turns, get through all those turns, and then do it again.
Man.
If you're just yeah, like I there is one super boss. I was like so done because he just kept doing it, and I just set my controller down because I couldn't do anything.
Like, all right, go ahead, finish, buddy. Go ahead.
Yeah, ah, man.
Why not just give
I will
him
say
more turns as the like a regular boss instead of just making him have 'em?
Yeah, they do put an item in the game where, like, I think it's if you dodge the attack and you have it equipped, it gets rid of the rest of their turns. I don't think that justifies it because you have to, one, know that the item exists, and two, why are you designing it off of one item? Kind of silly.
It's like Nihil.
It feels worse than Neo sometimes. Um,
You're in your sleep, you're like
yeah.
sleeping, and you just keep hearing the sound of new turns getting added. No, no.
Seriously. Yeah, but overall, the fights are really fun. Nolan alluded to this earlier. The animations and just the feel of it is so clean. Easily like the best like feel they've had for a game that they've made. And it's super clear how everything works and how each ability works with each archetype. And the cool thing is, if you have an ability you like, you can put one of those abilities onto your archetype. And it's super easy to do that. You don't have to do the whole thing in Persona where you had to like mix and match personas to like forge them together to get the ability you
Yeah,
want on your
fusions.
persona. You can just put it on and it just costs the currency to do it. Like that's super nice. Um
Yeah, and I'll say for
yeah.
myself, I actually struggled a lot with the archetype things. I will say it's very much streamlined compared
Mhm.
to the Persona way of having to do your fusions and using the calculator and all that stuff. It is a lot more
Yeah.
streamlined than that. I wouldn't say it's necessarily easier to figure out. I'm sure if you were using a guide or
There's just
something
less of them
that lays it
basically.
out for you. Yeah, it's a lot. Things are just a it's not so broad,
Mhm.
and it and you're given let's hear. Yeah, it's just simply not so broad. I mean, you're looking at Persona, you have 100 different personas that you're working with.
Yes.
This is you just have a few archetypes, and they only level up so far, and then you get
Yeah.
your abilities from there. And they say, okay, well, if you've reached like this proficiency, you can take this many skills or whatever that are just tied to anytime you use that archetype now, even if other people use it, um, which is
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, and they're all tied to leveling up your followers, which is something you're gonna want to do anyway. Um, so I like how it's tied to another mechanic in the game instead of just like personas. Like while it's kind of cool, like you're catching them like they're Pokemon almost. It's it's yeah more streamlined, kind of like you said. Um, yeah, I think that it's definitely a bit weird how there's some archetypes that just maybe I just didn't experience how they're supposed to be used exactly. There are some archetypes I just thought were bad. But yeah, maybe they're better than I've given them credit for, but I was kind of surprised that some of them just didn't feel
Well,
like they had a
the one
use.
that I thought I was going to love, and then I was like, okay, outside of the gimmick, I really don't like this at all, was Thief.
Yeah, the I
I
will
love the
say
gimmick,
Thief,
but I struggle with Thief.
once you get him up to the highest rank, he's really good for dodging enemy attacks. Um, so how you use him or how I used him is you have to put on uh Knight's Proclamation. So it has the enemy target you, and then you just dodge all their attacks. So they waste their turn, essentially.
Nice.
Yeah.
And is dodging is it skill based or is it like a percentage to dodge?
It's a yeah, it's like a skill point. So if you have high luck, I think is what it is, you're
Okay.
more likely to dodge. Or actually I think it's agility. It might be both.
Agility. It's
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
luck is for crits.
Oh, def. Yeah. Yeah. Uh yeah. So talking speaking of followers, I was gonna address the followers social links kind of connection there. Um, I think the way Metaphor does it is in some ways cool, and in other ways not quite there. Um, One change I do like is the shift away from needing to rank up the connection by answering the right answer to the right question, which is what Persona does. Um,
Or
yeah,
in times where you
there's
have
still
those things, it's
mhm,
made a lot more clear.
yeah, there's that, and then there's still right answers, but the only thing you get is points to spend for your archetypes, which I think is just a lot cleaner. Most things in this game, you're either getting money or you're getting points to spend on your archetypes, which is just a lot more streamlined. Uh, and not having to have like the cheat sheet of answers to rank them up
Yeah.
is just better.
Yeah.
Um,
And you don't have to go fishing 4 times to get them to reach that next rank.
yes, yes,
Yeah. Can I up in on the followers real quick?
yeah, go for it. Yeah,
I
I got
love
one more
that
point with
this
it, but
I
yeah,
love that this game isn't trying to this game lets me be friends with everyone. It feels like when I play the Persona games, I really got to pick and choose about 6 people that I really want to max out. And then everybody
mhm,
else, I'm just getting to whatever tier gets me that little ability that I want to carry over. This one, I really feel like I don't feel like I'm hurting for time to spend with these people or that I'm having to go out of my way to rank them up. Like it happens pretty naturally as long as I know what to do for them.
yeah. What's hilarious and why I laughed is that my next point is kind of like that, but the opposite.
No kidding. Oh wow, okay.
So I not quite exactly opposite. What I found was kind of odd was that they took out romance options, which
Oh,
I
gotcha.
found kind of ironic given that you're in this game you're trying to become a king and normally there's like a queen that goes along with that usually. So it's like if you're going to have romance options in a game this makes sense, you know. Um
So you're mad you can't
It's
romance
funny.
people?
I okay, I'm mad about one.
No, 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 no.
Yufa's best girl.
Is that the one point? That's why it's
You
not
were
a 10.
about to say Heisme.
Yeah, Heisei best girl. No. Uh it's kind of ironic because there's lots of scenes where she's clearly into you, and she's like the only character that is.
And real
But
quick, which character again?
it's somebody you haven't
Wh-
met.
Okay, gotcha,
Uh,
gotcha.
yeah,
I was trying to remember that. What was the name that you said?
Yufa.
Yufa. Okay, so
You
she's not
definitely
the
haven't met her.
no. Okay,
Yeah.
she's not one of your competitors at first, right?
No, no.
No. Okay.
Yeah. Uh,
Because there's the one that everybody has been pointing at, being like, "She's so beautiful," and I'm trying to
Beautiful.
like in game, the characters are saying that, and I can't remember. It's
oh,
the girl with the big
that's
eyes.
Juna.
Yep, that's it. That's it. That's what I'm thinking
Yeah.
of.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not like completely gutted that you can't do it. It's more just like surprising. Um, I will say at first I was definitely like, yeah, this is like cool that it's just friends. But I will say, um, I'm kind of bummed that some of like the random hangout times where you go to like restaurants and stuff with them are gone. Uh, it's replaced with ones that are always the same. You talk about different things in each one,
I see what you're
but
saying.
it's
So
like
you're
if
not
you're
talking
hanging out with
about the
Stroll as like a random hangout time on the Gauntlet runner, you're always polishing swords, right?
yes. Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, bit of a
I
missed
s-
opportunity there, in my opinion. I wonder if like maybe they were crunched on time, or they just
I
didn't
felt
feel
like it
like it
was a little
fit.
bit of a trimming of the fat, plus you needed to be
Maybe.
able to do these anytime, anywhere along the line. And since you're not staying in one area, it makes it really difficult. I mean, by the rules that they set, even though you get like your little fast travel kind of thing that makes a little bit of sense with the in-game world, I always felt like it was a little bit of a cop out. I thought it was kind of immersion breaking for myself. as hard as they tried. But
At least it's limited. It could have been way worse, where you could just go wherever you wanted. But
it's true. Yeah.
yeah,
And so I I think they kind of caught themselves in a corner because it is a very linear
yeah.
place by place kind of game. There's always so much they
Mhm.
can do with it. But what I saw with it is there was a lot of trimming of the fat. For one, there's not 10 ranks this time for your
Yeah,
followers. It's
that helps
uh,
a lot.
is it 6 or 7? Something like that. Uh
Mm.
so you don't have the full 10 that you have to do unless something unlocks later on that I don't know about. But I mean, Irie, is there something possibly?
Uh, no, it's only 8.
Okay, it's 8. Perfect. So I thought that was good. And then what I thought you were getting at first was when you're in Persona, you do have like you do your social link things where it feels like it doesn't progress anything. And it's just like, oh, we
They
just
definitely
went to the
cut
mall.
that, and I'm glad for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Everything
don't care
was
about those. I'm more it's more like the ones where it's um,
I
you're
get what you're saying now.
purposely hanging
The
out with them
Yes,
afterwards
yeah, to
or
spend time with them or whatever to actually
yeah.
level up so that you can do that next social link level. Because the way that Matthew that it works in Persona is that you have to choose to hang out with people, and then once you've gotten enough points towards their social link, you get the next social link story chapter. And it's basically 10 chapters for each person.
That sounds very tedious.
Technically 11. Um,
Can be.
and it is very tedious to me. But but once you've here in Metaphor, they've trimmed down on it a little bit. But what always got me was that it seemed like you didn't have a story happening. I think Persona 3 did this the best of 3, 4, and 5. Um, but in 4 and 5, I felt like you weren't really seeing a story happen with your social link until you got like 6 or 7 ranks in, and then it got really
Yeah.
rushed for the end. Whereas this is straight into the story. Like your highest
Yeah,
mate,
for
you
the
go
most part.
straight into his tragic backstory and hearing about him and his well, I don't want to give things away for Heisme. He's got a great story
That's a
that
spoiler.
impacted me personally. Um
Yeah, that's a great story. Heisme is one of the best
Heis,
ones.
yeah, Heisme might be my favorite character in an Atlas game.
He's
But
really cool.
but I love that they trimmed the fat here because I think because of it we got deeper, more meaningful stories out of these characters.
Yeah, I will say, and every Persona Metaphor game has this. There's some follower social links that just aren't very good. Uh,
Yeah,
there's definitely some here. I personally did not like Heisenberg's or Hulkenberg. Sorry, I didn't
Hulkenberg.
like
I always want to
Hulkenberg's
call her
story
Hilda.
at all.
Yeah, Hulkenberg.
Uh,
I yeah. She's the one that I haven't really cared
she,
about. Is just, oh, this guy's a bully to me.
yeah, well, she's also just not my favorite character in the main cast anyway.
I just
Um,
like the food jokes.
yeah, the
That's
food
it.
jokes are funny. That's about. She's kind of a one note on that.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah,
She's easily the least compelling character in the game, and unfortunately,
it's true.
your she's your lady on. She's your
Yeah,
chie.
yeah. Uh, but yeah, moving on to the last category, music. You gotta talk about music if it's an Atlas game. Uh, man, there's some tracks here that top some Persona tracks for me. I think as an overall package, I have to give it to Persona 5. I tried to justify giving it to Metaphor, and I was like, no, there's no way, because there's tracks in Persona 5 like Layer Cake, Beneath the Mask. Uh, it's just a
But do
better
they have hey
soundtrack.
hey hey
Yeah,
hey?
that's one of my the funniest parts about Metaphor soundtrack. There's a ton of that. Man, I can't wait till you hear the final dungeon theme because he goes so hard in that track.
There is a
It,
guy who is
it,
like the
it
lead
sounds
singer for this, and
it sounds like borderline rapping in the final dungeon, Nolan. I can't wait for you to hear it. It's so
I
good.
am I'm on pins and needles waiting for it.
Like, yo, hey, welcome to the final
Yeah.
dungeon. Hey?
Speaking of that, dude, the battle theme I think is spectacular. Has a lot of guy in it, but it's a catchy theme. It's super
We
great.
got absolutely robbed of a good Game Awards
Performance.
Game of the Year medley because they need to ditch this guy. He's it's so one note, it's just dun,
Yeah,
dun, dun,
that's
dun.
true.
And they take whatever theme from the game is closest to that instead of doing with the theme that is actually like, the popular theme from the game. I'll never forgive them for that.
Can we go there next time and just boo him?
I don't want to
Good luck
boo
getting a
the
ticket.
the performers. I
Hope aside,
want to
boo,
boo the
not the
arranger.
performers, the guy writing it. Boo, not the performer, the guys who wrote it. Boo.
Yeah. The Game Awards
another
band is top notch. It's just they need a new
Yeah,
composer.
they are a good band.
Don't go on strike.
I think it's him.
I
Another
wanted
really
Flute Guy
good
to come up to the
track.
mic and go, "Hi, hey."
Oh.
Who's
Yeah,
hair
that's
going all
pretty
back and forth? Anyways,
yeah, another great track is at Ria Village. Oh man, that's another one I can't wait for you to hear, Nolan. That's like I think that might be my favorite song they've ever composed.
Mm.
It's so good. I left the game on for a while just listening to that one. That's pretty good sound.
I was wondering every time I would get on
Um,
PlayStation, bro, this guy was on, man. I was like, he must really like this game. I'm just kidding.
the platinum's really long. Yeah. But yeah, excuse me. Some concluding thoughts. I'll be honest, sometimes I feel like they didn't distance themselves enough from Persona in this one. You can definitely feel its influence throughout the whole thing. But I think it's a solid step in the right direction, and it's something I want to see more of again. So if they do another one, I'd love to see what they could do with it. Further coming up with new ideas, just like they did in this one with the story and setting, and there's so many really great things that this game did, and I think it got snubbed hard at Game Awards for frankly a game that is good but didn't deserve to win.
with Astrobot, I see it.
Yeah.
It wasn't
I
my
see
pick,
why
but I
people
see
did it. I don't think
It's because they
deserved it.
didn't play Metaphor. That's why.
But
There
he
you
also
go.
has the better theme. Sorry to say. They had Astrobot sing his own theme song, bro. You cannot pick him.
Yeah, but yeah, just to reiterate what I said before, I think this game is a 9.
Alrighty. Well, that's going to wrap up our review / discussion here of Metaphor ReFantazio. 9 out of 10. Definitely pick it up if you haven't played it yet. Remember, you can be a part of what we do here by liking and subscribing. Also, by answering our question of the week this week. We want to know, what are your thoughts on ReFantazio? How does it compare to the Persona 5? Which you like more? Are you mad there's no romance? Do games need more romance? Leave your thoughts below. I'm Matthew Hot Dog Eater. That's Super Nolan Man. That's Bo Mitchell, the High Roll King. And you guys have a great week.
They were right not putting romance.